one of the hardest things that I had to accept, and it was a revelation that was brought to me as I was going through a period of counseling and stuff like that, because I was still holding on to all that stuff, was sometimes your parents' only job is to get you here.
Yes.
Sometimes your parents' only job is to make sure you're born.
Yes.
And God has no interest or level of involvement for your life past getting you here.
Yes.
And what he has for you for the rest of your life is based on what he wants you to
His will
experience. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So some of our parents may not have been meant to be in our lives from that stage forward based on what God wanted to do with us. So that is a hard thing to accept. That is a hard thing to deal with. But if you can understand that may not have been what God wanted from me, it can be a little bit easier to get to that space where you can move forward without explanation. And once
Yo, welcome to the cave with Mel, Troy, and Lex. The podcast where men can have a safe space. We on all platforms. You need to tune in, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Welcome to Melody, the podcast where men can have a safe space. Welcome to Melody. Welcome to the cave with Mel, Troy, and Lex.
That's good.
I felt like I was tall, short. All right, you ready?
Let's go.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Hey, what's going on, man? It's your boy Melly Mel, a.k.a. Melly Badass, a.k.a. Meek Mel, a.k.a. your favorite truth teller, a.k.a. if you don't want to know,
Don't ask me. It's your boy T. Roy, your neighborhood hope dealer. If you need some hope, I got something you can borrow. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow.
What it do, though? It's your boy Dr. Life Coach Lace, a.k.a. NBA Old Boy, a.k.a. I'm him, a.k.a. Mr. Big Shot, a.k.a. the Menace, no relation to Dennis.
Let's get it. Before we get into it, okay. Melvin, how you feeling about the comments and stuff about you on the internet being like the worst?
He might be in relation to Dennis.
We just want to check in with you, make sure you're doing fine.
First of all, despite the comments, I'm still married. I know everyone wanted my wife to divorce me off of the comments. We are still married, happily married. And just for the record, that situation was at least 10 to 12 years ago. Like it was so old, we were just using it as a point of topic of discussion. But because of Troy's commitment to making me look like a dick,
that's not the case.
The rest of the world took it as such. I just want to say that people do not listen.
They don't listen.
People don't listen.
They don't listen.
And if people actually listen to what I say a lot of time, instead of just getting emotional about what I'm saying, the conversation could go a whole lot different.
Absolutely.
So instead of people listening to the spirit of what I'm saying, they just be ready to respond.
They just listen to the messenger rather than the message.
You know what I'm saying? Because it was a clear message in what we was talking about in that conversation. And it had nothing to do with clothes or a shirt, Troy.
It's the principle.
It was the principle. And I had already said earlier in the episode, and I've said on plenty of occasions, that if it was a different situation, I would have just wore the shirt.
Correct.
I would have wore the clothes. It
but
wasn't
the
about
thing
the
is,
clothes.
though, the comments was wild. But this
wild.
Again, this is why we need y'all to like, subscribe, and follow. Because if you actually listen to the episode, there was a clear breakdown in why you felt the way that you felt and the type of event. Because I mean, some of the comments was, well, if it's a formal event, why don't you just wear it?
Now, he ain't say nothing about no formal.
Nothing about no formal event.
Say nothing about no formal.
It wasn't about an event. And the conversation wasn't even about the clothes.
It was not.
It wasn't about the clothes or the shirt.
Right.
It was a conversation about people assimilating in environments that they go into. It was a conversation about assimilation.
But I'll tell you what was interesting about those comments, though, is that people were suggesting that you do assimilate. And I think that's a problem in some way. We could probably have a whole show around that. Why are you assimilating in situations in which you don't have to?
That you don't have to. That was the whole point. That was the whole point. You were trying to do something that you didn't have to do.
She a black woman. She already got to deal with enough at work. First of all, this was a voluntary event. We don't even have to go.
It wasn't even a work event.
That context was important.
The context was important, which he robbed us of in the clip. But it's fine.
How much context can I give?
Oh, bruh.
In 2.5 minutes.
That 3 seconds that added the content won't go change that clip.
I don't know what your context like, but I can give context, man.
It was clear context. We had already set the stage that it was not a work-sanctioned event and there was no requirement for dress.
No,
so the question that was being asked of me had nothing to do with work, had nothing to do with representing her, had nothing to do with being a team, and having my wife's back and making her feel comfortable. It had nothing to do with
nothing.
But that's where the conversation went.
But that's the world that we live in.
It's cool.
Okay, you made your case. I do want to say a couple things. One, the majority of the people who was making comments, some of y'all are not in relationships. So I don't know if y'all should be in a position making comments about other people's relationships. That's the first thing.
We all have an opinion.
We all have an opinion.
If you choose to share your opinion,
and you choose to share
that's cool. That's cool. Have the facts.
Yes, have the facts.
Context, facts, understanding. Mm-hmm. See, this is why I don't get bothered by the comments. And this is why I be talking to y'all about why I don't care about the world's opinion of me. First of all, you got to understand, I got to understand, we all should understand that if I'm going to put something on the internet, then that means I'm comfortable with opening myself up to people's opinions and stuff like that. So I have to be comfortable with the fact that someone may not agree or someone's going to say something to me sideways and not have context or make insinuations about me or whatever it is. So I have to go into an understanding that that is a possibility for me. So to get bent out of shape about the comments, would be ridiculous. It'd be like a waste of my time. Yeah. The problem that I have is with so many black people who are willing to take a 2-minute clip and make an entire judgment about somebody's life without context. You just as bad as me. Like, if we talking about it, you think I was a dick for not wearing a shirt. I hate my wife. I should have cared about my wife. I should have had her back. She should divorce him, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You think I'm terrible because I didn't wear a shirt and made all type of, I'm a thug. I'm committed to being a thug.
I'm a thug? Somebody said that?
Yeah, bro. I'm telling you, the comments was crazy. If y'all go back and look at them, the stuff that they were saying about me in them comments was wild, bro.
Hold on. Not a thug in a robe with a white picket fence.
I'm telling you, the comments was crazy. The stuff that people were saying about me. But I'm saying that you're worse than me to take 2 minutes to something without context, and speak negatively about someone's entire life, like without the impact. First of all, if y'all are worried about how my wife felt, that was a root. Everyone was worried about how my wife felt, how my wife looked. How you think my wife feel seeing y'all leave them comments about me in the comment section?
Right. How
y'all think my wife and kids feel about y'all? How y'all talk about me in that comment section without really knowing and understanding who I am and stuff like that? So you talk about me, you worse than me.
Yeah.
I didn't wear a shirt. But you saying I'm a thug and I belong in jail and should be divorced because of a shirt.
Listen,
this is what I be talking about. Why I don't care about what people say.
Yeah.
Lace, I knew Mel was upset because he was using our handle responding back to people.
Like legit.
I said this was action. I was like, hey,
I wasn't upset.
The handle's supposed to be neutral a little bit. Just a little bit.
I wasn't upset. I was just trying to keep the conversation going.
You were keeping
the conversation going is one thing too, but as we stated from Rip in this opening segment, people just don't listen.
They don't listen.
They don't listen. They listen to respond, not to actually understand the experience of others, and that's a part of the world that we live in.
Come on, bro.
And that also goes into. So you've had your own diversity and inclusion experience.
What?
So I think that's amazing too.
What you mean?
Diverse comments, diverse level of understanding, and you were the outlier in that. Based upon what these people thought of you in that particular sense.
Well, I think most people would have probably agreed with me more had they had the context about what was being talked about.
Oh, which for sure. But I mean, some of it too. Some cats, some individuals use that as clickbait.
They do.
We used it as clickbait for us.
So
not really.
It
was a real conversation.
It was a real conversation. But the way it was framed,
but like you had the one cat who was like, "I would love to mentor this young man."
Bro, I don't need it. I went to his profile. Nothing that I would want to be mentored by was on that profile. I said, no, thank you. I'm good, bro.
All right. So I had two things. The first thing was some people who was commenting didn't really have room to comment. The second part is I just want to have on record, if you go back and watch the clip, which we did prior to this episode today, you did hear me agreeing and backing up some of the points that Mel had. The thing is, two things could be true. All right. And in the midst of two things being true, which one is the most important? And I can't tell another individual what's the most important. That's the reason why I asked the probing questions of what was most important for you in that moment.
Okay, I have three things, and I'm gonna go in this order. First of all, just to set the stage, because I know we got a lot of new listeners. Y'all may not know. Y'all not been here for a while. Whatever it is, welcome. We glad you joining us. Welcome. To the
tap in.
Welcome to the pod.
You know what I'm saying? But to provide clarity and context of those of you who do not know and understand who is on this podcast, everyone on this podcast has several postgraduate degrees. It's more degrees than Fahrenheit on this podcast.
There is. You got 2 masters.
I have 2 master's degrees. Someone over here with a doctorate. One will have a doctorate / PhD in about a year and some change. We are educated on this podcast. We're not ignorant individuals who are getting on here just spewing information. We're having honest conversations about things in a way that is relatable to allow y'all to engage and have an opportunity to do that instead of using verbiage and vernacular that will go over your head and put you in a situation where you don't want to listen to what we're talking about.
Right.
This is meant to be casual and fun and conversational.
Amongst friends.
Amongst friends.
That is first and foremost. So when you're talking about Mel, understand I'm someone with 2 master's degrees. I'm highly educated. I've been married for 14 years. I've been a successful parent for 14 years in a 2-parent household. Both of my kids are always on the honor roll for the most part. And I live a pretty decent life. So when I come in here to talk to y'all, it's not to boast about myself. That's probably why I don't talk about a lot of that stuff, because I don't want y'all to feel like I'm coming in here to boast to you about my accomplishments, my lifestyle, and what I have going on. But understand the tactics and things that I use is to create entertainment for a conversation. I don't care if you agree with me or not. I think people get confused, and that's my point number 2. I don't care if you agree with what I say. I understand that I speak an objective truth that makes people uncomfortable. When I'm talking about things, I'm literally talking objectively about the truth, the situation, and what is at hand. A lot of times, I'm not even telling you my real opinion. I'm speaking objectively about the discussion.
Sure.
So I understand that makes people uncomfortable, and I understand that some of the language that I use can come off radical to you all. And that is by design and intention, because I want to create a conversation. The fun for me is the disagreement. And I think people think that I have to be right because of the passion in which I argue. Right. That's just the debate. That's the fun for me. I'm going to be passionate about it because it's fun. You don't have to agree with what I say, and I hope you disagree so that I can't argue with you. I'm trying to create sometimes I'm trying to create an argument with you. So I don't care about that or whatever. The third thing. What did you say? What was the last thing you said? I had it. I lost it. What did you say?
I said I agreed. I just said 2 things can be true. I just asked the questions to ask what was important.
That was it. That was okay. That was it. That was my third thing. And I didn't know if we was gonna revisit this conversation, but it came to me afterwards, and we never got to dive into it. The root of that conversation that we was having about the shirt and the request was about, in the past, my wife being a people pleaser. Not doing things that she necessarily wanted to do, but doing things that she felt like she had to do to please a group of people in pursuit of acceptance. Borderline insecurity about how I look and how I present. The question that I had was, you were pushing me to just wear the shirt. Just make her feel comfortable, wear the shirt, wear the shirt, wear the shirt. If you knew your wife had an insecurity, would you feed it?
The answer is no. You shouldn't.
Would you feed it?
No,
is the question.
I would not feed it.
In any other area, any other situation, if we know our woman has an insecurity, our goal is not to feed it.
Yeah.
If she was insecure about who I was hanging out with, it would be expected I would probably not hang out with those people. If she was insecure about something, it would be probably expected that I shouldn't talk about whatever it is. If I understand that she may have an insecurity about how she looks and represents and presents herself to others, and in that request that she made to me was attached to that insecurity that she has about people pleasing, why would I feed it? Why would I comply with wearing the shirt? Why would I agree with her that, yeah, you're right, we should be insecure about how you look and match ourselves to meet the needs of this group of these people? Why would I do that? So why would you expect me to do that? Why would I walk into this situation knowing that what I'm hearing? Because again, y'all don't understand. Everyone's like, you don't know what she needed. You don't know what she needed. You don't know her. I live with her 365 days a year. When you are married to someone, you come in close proximity to them. You start to understand their struggles, their challenges. Your ears become different to some of the things that they say. And sometimes what she's saying is not necessarily what she's saying with her mouth. And I got to be able to hear and interpret and understand what she may be talking about. And in my interpretation in that moment was not, we need to look a certain way for the occasion. It was, I'm trying to seek acceptance in this group based off of what my insecurity is. So I'm not about to sit there and feed that insecurity. Why would I do that? What real man would want to feed that or any insecurity? You know what I'm saying? So to be like, oh, you should just wear a shirt. You should just make her feel comfortable. No, I should not just make her feel comfortable. We don't even know what it is. Once we understand what it is, then we make a motion. Then we move forward. But we didn't get to that. But now that we talking about it, that's what I'm asking. If you knew she had an insecurity, would you feed it?
I think this is a great hindsight's 2020 type of thing.
For sure.
Like being able to dissect that conversation even more outwardly and bring it back. But yeah, you want 100% right. If my wife had insecurity, I would not feed it. You're 100% right. I think we would have different approaches. Your approach I think works for you all. I think I would have to have a different approach for us because I know my wife.
Well, different strokes for different folks. It's not a one size fits all response, but again, he's in it. So know and have the level of understanding in which you need to address or approach, and having the lens of understanding from this is what this is rather than what is being presented solely outwardly based upon request. So you got to be in tune to know that, you know what I'm saying? So, but again, it's for the comments and the likes, dislikes, whatever. People always have an opinion about things that they have no context or clue about.
Most definitely. And can I add a number 4?
Yeah.
Okay. So number 4 is, if you're going to rip our stuff and use it on your platform, make sure you tag us on it.
Yeah,
all right?
At least tag
I ain't mad at you.
Just
okay?
at least tag them,
you getting traction to our page. That's what's up. Just tag your boys.
They ain't gonna tag it.
You know what I'm saying? Just tag your boys.
They ain't gonna tag it.
Because what happens is when you put our stuff on there, what happens is people send it to us. And they be like, hey, they getting on y'all. People be like, hey, they getting on y'all over here in this location. We see it and we like, oh, dang, can you at least collaborate with us? You know what I'm saying? Because what's happening is, I hope you don't understand it, even though you may not agree with what we're saying, you're posting it. And so by you posting it, you're using it for your own benefit too. And so let's both benefit with it, baby. You feel me?
Yo, that'd be the funny part to me when I'm minding my business and I get that text message or that DM and somebody's like, hey, yo, they tearing you up in the comments. And I be like, for real? They be like, yeah. They be like, yeah, look. And I go, look, I be geeked up. I don't know what people think I be experiencing when I'm in them comments. I be geeked up, bro. Yes. We be in the group chat, screenshot them joints. Hey, yo, I'm trying to tell you, I go easy on y'all, honestly. I go easy on y'all. So, you know, it is what it is, bro. I just want you to remember what you listening to.
Just remember what
Tap in.
Bro.
The right way. Tap in the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we just trying to create conversation, man, in general. So join the conversation. Like that's why I'm saying, like, I don't get bothered by the disagreement. Add to the conversation. I'm not trying to push my thoughts, beliefs, and opinions on nobody else. All we trying to do is create a conversation around topics that people genuinely or generally don't talk about.
Right.
And so we want you to be involved. Like, leave comments, make a comment, add it onto the profile, whatever it is. Like, add your perspective to the conversation. We want to hear it. That's the whole point of this situation. So you don't got to agree with me at all. Mm-hmm. At all. I don't care if you agree.
Right. And let me add a 5th and a 6th, and I promise we'll go to the next one. The next one is, and if you want to have the continued conversation, bring us on your platform, baby.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Hey, we travel. We like to be in different places. We travel. We'll be on your platform. We would love to talk a little bit more about the whole conversation wherever you are, because we want to have that conversation. As we said before, this fuels us to actually come back in the studio and do more things. And so, that's basically it. So,
hey, man, what's going on? It's your boy, Melly Mel. You already know what the deal is. Hey, do me a favor real quick. Hit the button. Yeah, the subscribe button. You know which one I'm talking about. Go ahead and hit that, man. If you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button so we can get it cracking. If you listen on Apple Podcasts or if you're on Spotify, go ahead and hit that subscribe on that as well. So that way when we drop these episodes, you're the first one to know about it. Hey, we real serious this year. We trying to get this community going. We want to continue to have great and amazing conversations that y'all keep engaging us with. So do us a favor. Tell somebody else about this podcast. I don't care if it's your man from down the street, your brother, your cousin, anybody that you feel like would benefit from these conversations or just want to have a good time. Come kick it with us at Manly D's, man. After you do that, as always, continue rocking with us. It's your boy, Melly Mel, man. I'm out.
With that being said, we're talking about relationships and how we handle our relationships and stuff like that. Just so not recently, but on Netflix for the past couple seasons, there has been a TV show that displays love.
Come on now.
A type of love that I have never seen or experienced before. It's a love on the spectrum.
Yeah. Best show out right now.
That is my show.
Best show out.
That's my show.
Absolutely. Love it.
I be tapped in.
Yo.
Now, I've only seen clips, so y'all have to bring me up to speed. What makes this show... No, seriously, I've only seen clips. Y'all have to bring me up to speed as far as, like, what makes this show your show.
Well, for me, it is being in tune with yourself. So we often talk about self-awareness. We often talk about operating from a lens of having boundaries, principles, those kinds of things. Everyone on this show has that
Come on, bro.
innate ability within them. So although they have and I call them different abilities rather than a disability, although they think different, they may process different, they really about their business in what they desire and what love looks like to them. So for each individual is their journey and how they connect, engage, and they are seeking love and what works for them, what doesn't work for them. And they'll tell you straight up, hey baby, you don't like this? That ain't gonna work for me. That's not gonna work for me. So it's just their journey and how they engage on the dating scene, etc. But yeah, it's cool to see and watch them navigate it.
From what I see, they are very matter of fact.
Oh, absolutely.
Bro. Like I saw the one clip where the couple, one guy's a DJ, he wears a cowboy hat, and then I don't the other young lady, she was like, faith is a big part of me. Are you a Christian? He was like, yeah, I'm a Christian. He said, okay, all right, then we can move on from
right, absolutely. If you ain't got this, we ain't gonna have that.
Look, I'm telling you right now, if everybody dated how they date on Love on the Spectrum, dating would be so easy. I would love to be married and date the way that they do it. Because it's just like, I want to be matter of fact. I want to be able to just go, and it's so amazing to watch, because if they don't like each other, they be like, all right, cool, I'm fine with that, and they walk away.
Right.
Like they'll go on a date and she'd be like, did you have a good time? He was like, not really. Not really. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't like you like that, but we could be cool. Right. And she'd be like, I understand. Don't worry about it. And they shake hands and hug and walk off. I'm like,
that's crazy,
bruh. If I could just wake up in the morning and just say how I felt, if I could just do that all the time, I'd be like, bro, that's so amazing. And that's why I be tapped into the show. That's why I watch it. Because I'm like, yo, they just getting it off their chest. Like, it don't matter what it is. Bro was like, hey, you like giraffes? She was like, no. He was like, all right, well. He was like, what's your favorite animal? She said, horse or something like that. He was like, okay, cool, I like gorillas. And then he was like, you want to go to the petting zoo, whatever? She was like, yeah, we can go over there. So they going over there, they having a good time.
Yeah.
He like, you having a good time? She like,
yeah.
I don't think I'm really having a good time. He like, you know what? Me either. Let's go. Let's leave. Let's go. I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you.
You gotta tap in. So who's your favorite
that was gonna be my question.
Character not character, but who's your favorite?
Connor's 100% my favorite.
Connor's
my favorite person.
Who's Connor?
He's like one of the OGs of the show. He's been on for 3 seasons.
Yeah. And he still ain't found love yet?
Nah, he was having a rough time. My bro got boundaries, bro. I'm telling you, first of all, he don't like blondes. You gotta be brunette. You gotta be brunette. You don't like blondes and nothing like that. So it just, when he go meet people, bro, he'll give him like maybe first 5 minutes, something like that. If he asks a couple questions, he ain't feeling it, he'll go back home to his mom and be like, why in the hell did you set me up with this person, bro? Connor, cool. I like Connor.
Yeah, Connor, that dude. He got a little swagger about him. You know what I mean? I like Connor. What's my man's name? That live in South Cat. He went to Clemson. Oh my God!
He talks fast, but he smiles a lot. I can't think of his name right now.
I can't think of his name,
but he's always happy though.
Always happy.
He's always happy. I like the way he dates too. He always show up with a gift.
Always.
He always got a gift.
That's another thing about the show.
Come on, bro.
If you go Love on the Spectrum, you go get some gifts.
You go get some gifts. They be showing up with the gift, and that's what I'm saying, bro. Come on, man. If everybody dated like that, how much more fun would it be?
You go get some gifts, bro.
All right, so
I'm gonna
name off some names. Tanner, Mark, Michael.
Tanner. Yeah,
Tanner. Okay.
Tanner. I didn't even need to look at it.
So he'd be like, do you like turtles? Do you like goats? Do you like giraffes? Do you like... I mean, he just be going. But again, it's just how he connects and engage. He told Shorty, he was like, you the flyest thing I done seen. Like,
he did, bro.
Like, straight off rip. And she was like, I've never had what do you call it? A hot something or whatever. She was like, I've never had anybody call me this or whatnot. But it's just how they connect, engage. But was also interesting too when we talk about, dating and how some people are like, well, you should wait, this, that, and the third. Like the biggest thing for a lot of them is when it comes to the level of intimacy is, I can get a kiss or whatever. So it's just how the processing of what that looks like for them and how they perceive love and that kind of thing in their journey is very interesting. Very interesting, yet entertaining.
What's the young lady's name that the Christian guy? He always wears the cross on his chest.
Yeah, you talking about Danny?
Yeah,
you talking
she
about
want
Danny.
him bad, bro.
Want him bad.
She want him bad, and he keeps saying no.
Now why is he saying no?
Hey, bro,
because
she trying to get
feels
cracked.
like an adult relationship includes intimacy from
like sex and stuff like that.
Got you.
And he's just like,
they be getting down on that joint.
They be trying. Like she's the only one that's really trying. Like everyone else is like kissing is like they trying to get to that kissing, but Danny's like, hey, I'm trying to get cracked.
Right.
Hey, you need to come on. Because I'm tired of waiting. And she done told him that like 5 times. And he keep going back and forth about it. He's like, well, he's like, I just want us to be safe and stuff. Like, she's like, well, obviously we gonna be safe or whatever it is. But he keeps trying to.
What is obviously though?
She's just like, obviously we're gonna be safe. He talking about like condoms and stuff like that, like not having kids and all that contraceptive stuff. And she's like, well, obviously we're gonna do that. But she's like, I'm trying because she keep telling them.
She feels like that's what an adult relationship
entails
and looks like.
Yeah. So a lot of them are in like mid-20s. Like a lot of them are like in their mid-20s.
James damn near 40.
Yeah, but
James damn near 40.
Bro, James be hard on them though.
He do.
He be hard on them.
James be like, you got kids? You got a dog? I can't do it.
He was like, I can't do it, bro.
Pets are too much of a responsibility.
He was like, if she got pets, no.
And you can't say that in a real, not a real. You can't say that in a dating relationship nowadays. If you don't like pets or something like that, but it's like you hate,
bro.
But that is his boundary. He ain't messing with it.
Yeah, now get in the comment section, talk about James. Y'all like talking about people with boundaries. Get in there and talk about James. Talk about Connor and them. Talk about their boundaries and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I love the show. Glad they brought it back.
Definitely watch it. If you haven't watched it, ain't watching it. Watch Love on the Spectrum, bro. I'm telling you. I'm telling you to watch it, bro.
Solid.
Yeah.
It can tell you a lot. You can learn a lot.
So, what are some things that we can learn from Love on the Spectrum?
First of all, honesty is key. I don't know how to say that any other way. Like, honesty is key. Putting it out there, laying your expectations out up front, laying your boundaries out up front. I think all those are key elements to a quality relationship. Not just getting one started, but maintaining one, keeping them. You know what I'm saying? Keeping them together. And I think for them, outside of just that initial, do they meet my checklist stuff? Yeah. Most of them are usually trying to find the good in the people that they dating first before they kind of just realize that, all right, this ain't, you know what I'm saying? They're not going into it except for James, they're not going into it really like focused on everything that's wrong with them. And most of them are real open-minded. They're like, I don't care if you black, white, husky, slim. Like, they just like, I want a person that I connect with that matches my value system, that matches my interests and stuff like that. And that's what they carry it. So I feel like they got dating figured out way better than we did. So I feel like it's a way better experience for them than it is for us, even though they don't always end with a, you know what I'm saying, connection. The fact that they could just walk away without
any issues,
beef is like, I'm like.
But I'll tell you the other piece too that was glaring to me from watching this particular season is how they bring their full selves to the situation, but they also aren't trying to change whom they are connecting with.
That's real.
So you know how we can go oftentimes have past experience. Well, you may not be what I desire, but I can mold you into who I want you to be.
Yeah, I can make you wear a different shirt to a party and stuff like that.
That ain't what they own.
They're just like, just wear whatever shirt you want to wear. You beautiful the way you are.
Yeah, that's it.
You know what I'm saying? That's how they are.
Just like my man, what's the guy they've been dating for like 2 or 3 years or whatever.
Oh, they went to Africa.
Yeah. He was like, I'm the boy with autism that loves the girl with autism. Like, that's just what, like, it ain't no, you know what I mean? This is who I am or what I bring. And I'm trying to mold you to whom I think you should be for the benefit of me. Like that. So that's one of the biggest pieces that I've always been able to pick up from their lens of engagement. So
I think and I haven't watched the show, but based upon what you said just now, I also hear a third thing is acceptance of who I am.
Yes.
Yeah. Like my man jumped out the window, said, I'm the boy with autism and I like the girl with autism.
Like my pops always says, we all got a thing, right? My thing might not be your thing, but we all got a thing.
We all got a thing.
So we got to be able to understand and navigate that. And the sooner we can do that, it makes things work so much easier, bro. Mm-hmm. Makes things work so much easier.
So, all right. So I hear what y'all saying. So in relationships, you know, we compromise a lot. Mm-hmm. So should we not compromise anymore? You know what I'm saying? Can we take that bit of advice from Love on the Spectrum? You know what I'm saying?
No. I think compromise that's a part of every aspect of human life, right? Mm-hmm. You have to find some areas to compromise in. But I think in their situation, it is so fresh and new. Mm-hmm. I'm just meeting you. I don't need to compromise. I like dinosaurs. If you don't like dinosaurs, baby, you extinct. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is. So there is no level of because again, this is, and you never know what from their experience what they need to process, be successful, and those kind of things. So a lot of that is no, this is a hard boundary. I can't compromise from that. But as relationships grow and those kind of things, of course you compromise, and you should find healthy ways to compromise. But that's a two-way street in which I'm not trying to change you if you don't compromise. I'm not gonna beef with you. You know what I mean? So I think that's a process of that's a little bit not necessarily apples to apples.
I don't think that compromise is always necessary, and I'm gonna explain why. Because I saw your wheels turning as soon as I said that.
No, I want to listen.
I saw him a little bit, but this, and I take no credit for this. This is about a communication book that I read some years ago. When I was trying to get up my leadership skills, whatever it was. And it was a concept that I never thought of because we talk so much about compromise in marriage and relationship.
Yeah.
That's like one of the things we talk about as you go through marriage counseling, as you go through clinics, it's always like compromise. And this book introduced me to a new idea of collaborations versus compromise.
Right. Ooh, I like that.
And it helped me to make the mind shift in my relationship. Don't always get it right, but it is something that we started working towards, was being more collaborative versus compromising. And the reason why the book was kind of knowing, or not necessarily advocating against compromise, but knowing when to flip-flop between the two is because in most cases, when we compromise as individuals, both of us walk away feeling like losers in some sense. We didn't get something that we actually wanted out of the situation, and we're like settling for whatever it is. So we like compromising versus like collaboration is like we come together and figure out how we want to accomplish whatever it is for both of us. And then when we do that, both of us feel like winners at the end of the situation versus feeling like we were robbed of something that we possibly wanted or whatever. So I used to live by compromise, just like you, compromise. And then I would walk away feeling like a loser sometimes, like, I didn't get everything I wanted, but I'm compromised. So then once I started this whole collaboration thing, it kind of changed the conversations that we were having. And honestly, we started disagreeing less and having less arguments about small things that we would have, disagreed about in the past, just because it was more so about like, all right, what do you want to get out of this, situation? How do you see X, Y, and Z? So then we started like, all right, if that's what we want, how do we do that together? So
have
I
you
would
ever
say,
you have an example of your collaboration?
I
I know I kind of put you on the spot, but you said it, so I gotta hear it.
I'll use the house, for example. Originally, like I said, I never wanted a house. I didn't want a house at all. My wife was very adamant about wanting a house. She's from small town, she's country. Everyone has a house. They have their own home. It provides stability and all that type of stuff. So she was always advocating for a house, and it just wasn't, on my to-do list. So initially when I was going into it, thinking about the house and doing the stuff with the house, I was looking at it like a compromise. Like I was sacrificing something that I didn't want to make her happy. It wasn't anything, in it for me. So then in terms of collaboration for me, once we got to the idea of being open to it, I started to say like, all right, well, what can I get out of the house, or what can I experience in the house that would make it worth it for me too, and not just make it feel like I'm sacrificing everything, for her so that she could have a house and stuff like that. And once I changed my mindset about that, it allowed us to have a conversation about, all right, well, what does that look like for us? Like, what does a house look like for us? What does that mean? Which actually led us to Charlotte, because once we realized that that was something that we wanted to do to win, where we were wasn't going to be sufficient for what we wanted. So then that created a conversation of, all right, well, where do we go next?
Yeah.
Which then how we landed on that was we literally sat down. On one paper, we wrote out where we wanted to be. Obviously, I wanted to go home. I'm from the DMV. I wanted to go to DC. So DC was at the top of the list. DC, Atlanta, and Charlotte. We just wrote them on a piece of paper together. We drew a line down the middle. We wrote pros and cons on each side. And whichever location had more pros than cons was the one that we, ended up on. So that's how we landed on Charlotte. And from there, we kind of talked about everything, obviously prayed about it or whatever. And then the doors just kind of opened up faster than I even expected for us to move. So it moved from like this whole compromise situation to more of like, all right, how can we do this?
Yeah, from a collaborative.
You know what I'm saying? Together. And it definitely worked out for us. So our life has been up ever since we moved to Charlotte, but just taking those little, nuggets, you know what I'm saying? Seeing, not that I didn't before, but just realizing she thinks differently than me and vice versa. So usually in the past, if she wasn't thinking as fast or moving as fast with what I was trying to do, I get frustrated and be like, all right, don't worry about it. I just, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just kind of figuring out, all right, maybe she needs to see it on paper, or, maybe she sees it differently than me. Everyone don't have vision like me to be able to just see it in my head. And some people need to see it on paper or whatever. So learning those things, learning how to collaborate, I feel like it definitely changed, how we communicate.
That's good. That's good. I like that. First of all, my wheels weren't spinning. If I'm gonna put it in the video to show that my face was the same before and after you said that.
Same big face.
To end out this Love on the Spectrum segment, I'm curious, where do you hope the show goes from here?
Well, I don't know if they may bring new individuals into the situation or how the longevity of the show, but ironically, after this season, the majority of them found some kind of connection. So being able to potentially see how that evolves or grows would be interesting to me. But like I said, I enjoy all the characters. I keep saying characters.
I know what you mean.
I enjoy all of the cast and what they bring to the table in their own unique individual way. But yeah, seeing their journey evolve has been great, particularly those who are on season 1 and are still on season 3.
Yeah. What about you?
I don't know if I have anywhere that I want the show to go because I think it's doing a good job now. I was just like I was telling y'all earlier, it was just like the show to me, because you be in your own world so much, you don't really know what other people are dealing with. So like looking at the show for me, I'm like, I didn't even know that people like you dealing with it. Like you just like, so then once you get tapped into it and watching how they go about, navigating the process, stuff like that. The reason why I watch it because of like a lot of stuff that I believe in, like being your whole authentic self, walking into a room, not changing, being confident, yada, yada, yada. And I'm walking around sometimes without a differability and can walk into a room, even being confident, sometimes get a little jitter about walking into a new space. And you like, all right, I'm in this new space, but watching them walk into a room and like, yo, I got autism, that is what it is.
Right.
You rocking with it and all, this what I like, you don't like that, cool, blah, blah. I'm like, if more people could see that, experience that, and be like that, that's why I keep watching it. Because that joint for me is like, I'm definitely not about to stop. You know what I'm saying? What I'm doing, because obviously it's the, you know what I'm saying, it's the right thing to do. So if anything for me, I just feel like it allows people, again, in y'all's words, to get perspective into someone else's experience. So even if it's not your thing, I'm saying like, watch it just to even see. And then even just some of the stuff that you deal with, you might appreciate more just watching them navigate what they dealing with.
Yeah.
I can foresee Love on the Spectrum. And y'all heard it here first. I can foresee it goes from Love on the Spectrum to Marriage on the Spectrum, where the love on the spectrum leads up to a marriage.
And
then they're gonna follow that married couple after that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that could definitely be a thing.
The thing that I don't like though is that like I don't like the stuff like what Netflix and other places are doing when it comes to relationships. What's the show where they can't see each other on Netflix?
Love is Blind.
Love is Blind. Yeah. Like they curate these relationships, and people I think The Bachelorette actually like messed up the whole dating on camera type of things, because people realize that, oh, if I can make it to the end, I can make a living off of this. And instead of, and wholesome Troy,
safety whistle dot,
it makes it more about a career than it does about the relationship and the actual marriage.
Well, the thing is, people in those situations, they genuinely aren't looking for something that's long. I mean,
you want to be on TV. Like, just be honest, right?
Yeah.
That's why I hate the people on Love is Blind. Because they all act like I'm here to find love,
right.
And I just
they
want
are not there to find
like,
love.
You might be,
but
you know that there's some brand deals behind this if you play it the right way. You know there's some notoriety behind it if you play it the right way.
The setup for the show don't make sense. Like, what people don't necessarily know, they record that in like 2 weeks. Like,
right.
So you just sit in the box talking to somebody all day. Of course I feel something.
Right.
Because I ain't got nothing else. No distraction, no phone, no TV, and they sitting there for hours just talking. So you can develop a relationship with someone very fast in that environment. I'm not saying that the relationships are inauthentic or whatever, but I'm just, everyone that's on that show is not there because they just trying to find love and all. Like, you,
some of it can work, but I would think that the data would show the majority of them. I mean, even from the reunions, it's not like.
And Love is not blind, because what they started off as people being real authentic about love being blind. To now they trying to figure out how you look before you even get through. They asking questions, trying to figure out how you look, describe yourself.
So you were a
and stuff
football
like that.
player? Yeah, I was on the football team. Didn't even tell him what position he played.
Was kicker.
I was a cheerleader back in the day. Oh, okay. You was a cheerleader. Okay, were you at the top of the pyramid, or were you a part of the base?
The base, were you a base?
You know what I'm saying?
You do
like
stunts?
They don't ask.
Why would that matter though? Does that matter to you?
It mattered to them on there. Because if I'm not mistaken, afterwards they was calling homegirl Big Back and all types of stuff. Now
because she lied about her appearance.
And
she told him she looked like Megan Fox
again.
Yes.
Again,
she said she looked like Megan Fox.
Again, all I'm saying is, somebody may have told her that at a certain time in her life.
They might have.
She might not even think she looked like Megan Fox, but she told the truth, saying that somebody said that she looked like.
And that fool was like, that fool was on the other side of the pod like Megan Fox. He changed his whole mind about the other joint that he was talking to because he thought she looked like Megan Fox. See, that's what we talking about. Love is not blind, and I hate that because it is not. Yeah. People be lying. You know you have a preference, bro. You like what you see. If you don't like, it's fine. Why we gotta lie about that?
Right.
That's real.
Why we gotta lie about what we like to see?
And that's the reason why I'm hoping with Love on the Spectrum, Netflix doesn't try to curate it for the sake of views. You know what I'm saying? That they actually allow the cast to develop the love that they truly desire. Versus like, you know, they shoot a scene and they pull them back. It's like, hey, you know, next shot, I want you to get a little close. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want them to curate this. I don't want them to curate love for these people. I feel you. You know what I'm saying?
Let them figure it out. Yeah. I'll tell you what Netflix need to stop doing, because they are ruining shows, by the way. And what, I don't know if y'all seen it yet, but what they did with Pop the Balloon.
I didn't see that.
Oh my gosh.
I ain't see it yet. I saw
whatever Arlette them got going on. I don't know what the deal looked like.
Yeah,
cancel it.
Gotcha.
Cancel the deal. Get your money back. Well, I don't know. Whatever you need to do, they are gonna ruin that show,
right,
for the people. And one of the biggest ways that they about to ruin it is robbing it of the real essence that it was. Right. It was a black dating show for the most part.
It was, yes.
And the new Pop the Balloon, it was a sprinkle of 1.5 black women on that stage that was going through the process. And I know it's celebrities and stuff like that. The whole concept was absolutely horrible. I didn't see a single positive review about it. And I even tried to watch it because I'd be watching the Pop the Balloon, you know what I'm saying, situation for content and stuff like that to support the channel, obviously. But I was 10 minutes into that joint, and I was like, I can't watch this. I'm not watching this. Like, this is utterly ridiculous. And the fact that she's not even hosting her own show, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I probably got producer credit, whatever it is behind the scenes, but
it's for the bag.
Yeah, like for that aspect, I'm like, bro, this is ridiculous. Like, just move on. Like, you already had a good thing. Obviously, there's room for growth and stuff like that. But you post a video today.
But don't compromise yourself.
Pop the Balloon doing 1 million in a day, bro. I'm talking about, like, she posts that thing today. By tomorrow, it's up 1 million.
I would even say Pop the Balloon is actually not the Netflix version, but the original Pop the Balloon. I think that's more like genuine than Love is Blind, Bachelor, all that type of stuff. I think it's more genuine because people be real on that joint. Like,
no, they don't.
They do. Well, they do. I'm gonna tell you why. Because when they hear something they don't want to hear, they be like,
well, that part is that joint out. But that's because they be up there being ridiculous, bro. I like the show, but I hate a lot of the people that be on the show.
Right. I don't like it when they disregard somebody for surface reasons. I just didn't like the outfit. Now, come on now. You didn't like the outfit.
There, how many balloons do you think you would get popped?
First of all, when I great question. And I'm gonna be honest. Yeah. Great question. The way I dress, as soon as I walk out, at least if it's 10 on there, 6 of them probably gonna write me off already.
You'll get 2 pops, but you'll make it through.
But
because you tall and light skinned and with a beard, you'll get that. You'll get that off the rip.
I wasn't trying to go there, but based off of fits, you gonna pop my balloon because of that. All right, cool.
Because it's important.
And this is the reason why I say that this is more real. I appreciate that. You just showed me that you're superficial.
Right.
You just showed me you're superficial, and you saved me some time because if I saw you out in the wild, I might would have hollered at you. You know what I'm saying? And I might have pursued you, and you might have shown interest towards me just because I show interest to you. You know what I'm saying? Because some people entertain people not because I want to date you, but because this is just entertaining. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that part about Pop the Balloon. Like, show me that you're superficial. Then we go down the line when they ask the questions. Do you like kids? Yes, I do like kids. All right, I got 5. How many you got? It's just like they playing spades.
I got two in the possible.
I got 2 in the possible. And 1 on the way. So I do appreciate that. Even the conversation of what do you do for a living?
Entrepreneur. Everyone else gets up there and say they're entrepreneur. Right. If you can't tell me what you do, you're not an entrepreneur. And that's why I be saying I be hating a lot of people that's on that show. Everyone's trying to make themselves sound more important
of course,
on what they're presenting when they get up there. you ask them what they do for a living, they say I'm a student. That's not what you do for a living.
Right.
You have no living.
Right,
okay,
right,
so all right.
right.
But then you be like, what you do? Be like, oh, I do a little, I'm an entrepreneur. I got a laundromat, I do some real estate, I got a trucking company, I do rental cars, I'm a party promoter. Nigga got 10 things that he talking about he getting to the bag and stuff like that. But can't nobody, you doing all that, but can't articulate yourself.
Right.
Can't articulate your business. Can't articulate. That's why I be saying I'm starting to hate the allotment of people that are on the show now. I feel like it was way better before.
Yeah.
There were more authentic people that were having better conversations. Now I feel like people are trying to get their moments from the the stage on where they promote their business or whatever it is, or trying to create that superficial moment so that they can be on the clips and stuff like that. But the intent of the show is good. That's why I keep watching it, hoping that they're gonna be a sprinkler, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they be pissing me off, bro.
So in the realm of relationship, talking about how many kids you got and things of that nature, just recently it came out in the news that my man Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man. First of all, the man is doing a great job in the NBA. We're just going to put that out there. He scores a lot of buckets. He knows how to put the ball in the hoop, and he also knows how to put the seed in the ground. Just so recently, a story came out, and I do say story. A story came out. We do know that Ant-Man a couple years ago was in social media talking about how he wanted one of his baby mothers to. He said basically along the lines of you should abort, or what the case may be. And then just recently, apparently. I don't know if it's the same woman or a different one, has said she's having a baby. She's taking him to court for child support. And in the midst of that, a story came out that the Ant-Man said, listen, I'll just pay the whole thing up front. First of all, he can do it if he wanted to. He can pay that whole thing up front. I think some commentary that someone else said, they were like, but there's no way that you can actually do that, because the point of child support is that you can, not child support, but the courts, regardless of whether they decide, they want the parents to be a part of the child's life. At least that's a hope or a desire.
I don't think that's in the paperwork.
I don't think so either.
But
they desire, and so but the reason why I say it's a story is because I think it came out that this is not true. This is not somebody made this story up about him, that he would say something like that. But regardless, this brings us to the point of talking about how when a father don't want the kid, they don't want to have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. The thing is, although again we don't know if the story is 100% factual or not, but a lot of brothers have been doing the Ant-Man practice for a long time. They just ain't paid nothing up front. They just won't there.
That's true.
So I don't think it's anything new. I think it's the nuance is that he has access to a certain level of funding, in which, being in a child's life and being present, i.e. being there versus around, that's a personal choice. So nobody can make him do that, whether he paid up front or did not. We would hope that he would want to be in this child's life and watch them grow, etc. But people got different views that are all over the spectrum when it comes to this kind of thing. But it's nothing new, because a lot of cats don't pay and they ain't in a child's life. So you do the math. Ain't nothing new.
My dad still owed my mom about 3 stacks.
Right. So
we let it. We dropped the case. We dropped the case, even though he owed 3 stacks.
They dropped the case.
They dropped the case. They came to me and actually asked me.
How old were you when they asked you?
Good question. Because child support goes to 18.
Yep.
And at the time, I think it could go further if the kid goes to college. And so I was a sophomore in college when I got the phone call. So how old are you, a sophomore? 19 and 20.
Maybe something like
sophomore
that.
College.
Generally,
generally.
If you're on the traditional track, you might be doing that victory lap. You know what I mean? You never know.
So I got the phone call. My mom was like, "Hey, the court said that they'll go after your daddy for the remaining child support that he owes. What do you want to do with it?" And I said, I told my mom straight up, and this is an estranged relationship that I had with my father at the time. I told her straight up, I was like, we honestly, we doing good without him. what is an extra $2,000-$3,000 going to do for us right now? Let's just be done with it and let it be done. And that's basically what happened. And they was like, all right, it was on you. So they said dismiss the case, and then that's the end of it.
So how did you reconcile that? You know what I mean? From the past desires to wanting to obviously have a father present, those kind of things, but then just looking at it from a monetary thing, because y'all could have stuck it to him just from a monetary standpoint. That wouldn't have necessarily enhanced y'all's relationship. So how did you kind of process that at that young age, or young adult age?
Yeah. You said the right word, reconcile. I in my so a transformative thing had happened my freshman year of me becoming a Christian, and then my sophomore year, that was when I was kind of like walking it out a little bit, and I was kind of like so I think it's two things. One, it was like I want to forgive him. I want to have a relationship with him. And then a part of it too, and this is kind of, it's funny. I want to have a relationship with you, but I don't want to have to deal with you. You know what I'm saying? So it was conflicting things at the same time.
In concept. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. And so I just went to the point. I was like, let's just drop it. I just drop it. And then, probably the following year, my father has his he gets baptized, and I had met my sister probably, let's see, I was 20. I had met my sister 4 years prior to that, and she's a year younger than me. And we had been conversing, and she was telling me, he's getting baptized, and it's an exciting thing, but I feel like he's hiding something. I don't know what he was trying to hide or whatever the case may be, but I went to the actual baptism. This is probably the year following me saying I'll let it go. The night before, I went over to my then grandmother's house. She's since passed away, but I went to the house to hang out with him and her, and we were watching Cops. And I remember it distinctly. We were watching Cops, and I said, "Hey, Pops, I just want to let you know, for a long period of time, I had a hatred for you because I felt like you abandoned me. I feel like you weren't there for me. But tomorrow, when you get baptized, not only are you my father, but then you become my brother in Christ." He then says to me, he said, "Thank you, Troy. I appreciate that. What you think is about to happen next on Cops? You think they're going to catch the criminal?" He couldn't process
what you just said.
He couldn't process what I just said. And at that moment, I was like, okay. And my grandma, she allowed us to have that open space. She didn't interrupt. She didn't, because normally in a black household, you don't talk, regardless of who you are, you don't talk to no elder like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even if you telling them the truth, she just let it go by. And the next day he had his baptism. I was there celebrating. I was there crying, and I pursued my father to try to close that door, close that gap. I don't think we really got the opportunity, that chance like I really wanted to. We had one good conversation. We had one good conversation right before he had his last stroke that kind of like made him not as cognitive. And bro, he talked my head off, and that's what I've been wanting for such a long time. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if I would have pursued him to be like, hey, come up off that bread, if we would have had that one moment. You know what I'm saying? So
got you.
Yeah,
that's real, Troy.
Good stuff,
hey,
man.
I appreciate that.
You, Dot.
Layers.
Appreciate you for sharing that.
Layers.
I appreciate that.
That onion getting peeled back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. You know, we can do that when you ask the appropriate probing questions. So thank you for participating in my case study.
So
It's my case study.
I guess my next question to that is, how did it make you feel? And I'll explain why I asked this question. How did it make you feel knowing that, he wasn't around for you when you was younger, hadn't paid the bread, you were the bigger person and said, you know what, we don't want the bread, we just want to move on or whatever, and then he'd go through a situation where now where someone who wasn't there to take care of you needs to be taken care of. How does that make you feel? What mindset does that put you in? Is it a lot harder for you to, although you've already gone through the forgiveness track and stuff like that, do you ever at times feel like a hint of resentment for, those type of things? Because there are, and I've even experienced it, not that it was no fault to my mother or anything like that, but like growing up without her, at times getting older or something, and she being in a situation where she needs help, it's like on one heart of me is like, that's my mama, I'm gonna help my mama.
Yeah.
And then the other part of it could be, well, you wasn't even there to take care of me, and then now I gotta turn around. You know what I'm saying? So do you ever deal with, like some of that, or have you experienced it? Because I know there's some other people like that too who may need to hear that.
Yeah. So you asked some really big questions. So one part is with my father is that I understand now. Getting older, you just understand. You know what I'm saying? Because when you're a kid, it's like, why my father wasn't there, it's like he was 16.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Brains ain't fully developed at the age of 16. You feel me? My mother had to become an adult overnight. You know what I'm saying? And because he didn't take responsibility, he didn't have to become an adult. And so, and then he was also a big time athlete. They used to call his nickname was Iceman, after Iceman Gervin.
George
Gervin, yeah. Like he was a nasty basketball player, and when you are a star athlete, you still don't have to grow up.
In a lot of ways,
especially back in the day, you didn't have to grow up because people take care of you. Don't have to come to class. You know what I'm saying? Like, just make sure you show up for the game on Friday night. And they said
you have a reference of accountability.
Yeah.
No foundation of accountability.
There was none. And they said that he was even nastier at football than he was at basketball, which is crazy too. But anyway, part of me is like, the resentment is understood. And although there's resentment for his actions, I understand how a person in that position could drop the ball. You feel me? And so, but that can only come with maturity.
Right.
But, and I'll also say this, that maturity or that understanding couldn't start until the point of me actually showing forgiveness. And part of that too, of that forgiveness, is realizing, bro, y'all remember Pizza Hut meats?
Yeah.
Y'all remember that?
Yeah, we remember.
That was dumb stuff. And I remember. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Mm-hmm. There was so many other dumb things. Almost died 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, there were so many dumb things that was happening from the age of 16 to that 20 mark of where I had to forgive. And then at the moment where I forgave him, the Lord just began to show me, is like, the way that you forgave your father is how I've forgiven you for all of your other things.
Yeah.
And then he just started to lay things out. And then that last conversation I had with my dad, he explained some things. He didn't go into details. He didn't apologize or nothing like that. But he just told me what like his basketball experience from high school to college and even playing overseas. And I was like, I get it. My resentment is real. My feeling is real, but I also get it at the same time.
All right. Yeah.
I felt that.
Yeah, and not to, obviously, your experience was different, but in all thy getting,
gain understanding.
And that's what that is the piece that people often miss. The understanding may not look like what we think it needs to look like.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, I still got some resentment. I still, I'm still navigating these things, but I understand.
Yes.
And that is really when you can open up certain arenas and avenues so you can have that healing process. You got to forgive, being able to forgive, being able to, leverage those experiences appropriately, so you can move forward in life. Because in a lot of ways too, I was just having a conversation last week with one of my homies. I'm like, bro, you the only one thinking about this. You cannot change that person.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. You are literally you getting sick thinking about, well, they should have done this, they should have done that. Maybe they should.
Yeah.
But you're allowing it to impact you in a way that is negative.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how are you go fix that for you? Because they doing them. So yeah, being able to acknowledge that and gain that level of understanding, I'm sure paid dividends for you in the long run. Thanks for sharing that though, man.
And to the part that you appreciate that, and the part that you asked, I didn't answer. You said how be in a position where now I'm taking care of him, and reverse where he didn't take care of me. Now, one thing I've realized about myself, I am not a caretaker. I don't. That is a special ability that people have. Like nurses, shout out to my nurses, my doctors, my RNAs. I'm not CNAs. The CNAs, the RNs, the BNs, like all those people. Like shout out to y'all. My sister was a caregiver for a time. That's a special person. I can't wipe no butt. You know what I'm saying? I can't. I can't.
I did not know that is where he was going to go with that.
I can't wipe no butt.
I can't wipe no butt. I can't do that.
Said butt.
I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't help you get dressed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have that that ability. But what I can do is I know how to make these phone calls. I know how to talk to the caregivers. I know how to talk to these people to try to set up things. Like we were trying to figure out stuff with his Social Security and his disability, and I took I'm being for real. We're trying to figure out his Social Security and his disability, and we know we got a friend who's in that realm. So I reached out to him. I was like, hey bro, what I need to do? He said, call this, that, and the fourth and the other. Now in the back of, I did not know my aunt had already set this stuff up, but I genuinely pursued these people to be like, hey, how can we get him assistance? How can we pay for people to come in and take care of him and stuff like that? I can be on that part and to make sure that you get taken care of. I just don't have the bone in my body. It takes a special type of person.
I got you.
So I bless God for my father, for my aunts and my uncles who are my dad's brothers and sisters, because all of them have the caregiving, nurturing part about them. I just don't have it. So I bless God for my Aunt Valerie, my Aunt Estelle, Darnell, Onion, and Carolyn, like all of them.
Name Onion.
Name Onion.
Like
his real name Robert. His real name Robert.
Why
you just say Robert?
Right. Why you call him Uncle Onion?
Onion Head? I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Maybe. Maybe he just got a big head.
I got an uncle named Bruh.
Bruh? Yeah.
Like Brother Man was his nickname.
Bruh Man, okay.
Yeah. So I shout out to them because they have jumped through a lot of hoops to help provide for my father. I'm not there yet, not because of him. I'm just not there yet as a person.
Right. I feel
you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Hey, but this last thing I'm gonna say, and I think we're gonna be at time, but to continue what Lace was saying, just about letting stuff go and moving on. I feel like for people who are in that situation, because I was also in that situation similar to Troy's experiences, like you got to get to a point where you can move on without explanation. And I think for a lot of people, they feel they can't move on, or they feel like they can't because they want so badly to get an explanation from their parent on why. Why were you not there for me? Why did you choose not to be around? Why didn't you show up for me in the way that I expected you to? You know, why weren't you like other parents that I've seen and stuff like that? And because you need so desperately the explanation, it's harder for you to move on.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
There may be more times than not a situation where you're never going to get the explanation. You may never get the reason, and sometimes you may get the reason and it still not be good enough for you anyway. So you got to learn to, and it's hard because you always kind of think about what could I have been if I had this? What would my life have been like if I had a situation? But you have to really get to the space where you look at really what my life could have been if I did have that versus what I have now, and be able to let go and move on without explanation, to Lace's point, for yourself, not necessarily for them. And I think the struggle with that is a lot of us would feel like we're letting our parents off the hook by giving them forgiveness. Like, I'm letting them get away with what they did to me by not forgiving, but I'm also keeping myself in a prison too, because now I can't move forward, and I might carry that into my relationship with my kids or my spouse or whatever it may be. So we got to learn how to do that. One of the hardest things that I had to accept, and it was a revelation that was brought to me as I was going through a period of counseling and stuff like that, because I was still holding on to all that stuff, was sometimes your parents' only job is to get you here.
Yes.
Sometimes your parents' only job is to make sure you're born.
Yes.
And God has no interest or level of involvement for your life past getting you here.
Yes.
And what he has for you for the rest of your life is based on what he wants you to
his will
experience. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So some of our parents may not have been meant to be in our lives from that stage forward based on what God wanted to do with us. So that is a hard thing to accept. That is a hard thing to deal with. But if you can understand that may not have been what God wanted from me, it can be a little bit easier to get to that space where you can move forward without explanation. And once that was brought to me and it opened my eyes to something different, it was a lot easier for me to let go and to reach a level of understanding and get older and be like, all right, I understand, what they could have been going through, what their mindset could have been, and stuff like that. Especially like us, a lot of us, I don't know about Lace, but a lot of millennials, if y'all look back, a lot of our parents were young when we were.
For sure.
The
thing is, nobody has a blueprint.
Yeah, they a lot of our parents. My mom was 18 when I was born. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, what was an 18-year-old thinking at that time? What could she have been going through, in those situations? And I think back to when I was like 4 or 5 years old, like small memories about my experience in my parents' relationship. I'm like, my mom would have been 22, maybe 21, 22 years old. How much could I have expected from a 21 or 22-year-old, in that situation, trying to figure themselves out? So it's just like, you get to the space where as I've gotten older, gotten wiser, and become a parent, you start to like understand,
for sure,
certain things. But I tell you, one thing that I feel like would be a really good conversation for us to have on another episode would be intent versus experience. Our parents' intent versus our experience. Because if you, like you said, talking to elders a certain way, like we would never be able to talk to an elder a certain way.
Yeah.
A lot of parents to this day feel like their reasoning and their effort is justification for us to not talk about our experience.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's worth it to have a conversation. Like, although you did do your best, although you did what you could, this is what I experienced.
Yeah.
And we can oftentimes get scrutinized by our parents or put in our place because we're talking about our experience. Because to them, they felt like they failed, like they didn't do enough, or you're not accepting or appreciative of all the stuff that they put in. It's like, no, it's not that. It's like, this is my experience.
Right.
And it's okay that I had this experience, but I need, need to talk about it. So that could be a whole hour-long discussion.
But I think too, to that lens, people have to realize sometimes good ain't good enough.
Yeah, that's what
like,
that's what I'm saying. That's what
I'm talking about. Hey. Listen, next podcast.
That's what I'm saying.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank y'all so much for rocking with us. Make sure you're sharing with your friends.
Hit the button.
Subscribe. Also hit that notification button too.
That
so
too.
You'll know when we're posting and things of that nature. It's your boy Troy, Life Coach Lace, Melly Mel. It's the Manly D's podcast.
We out.